Hello, I'm Rosemary Plyben, GTN host for the City of Greensboro, and I'm honored to MC today's program. Thank you for joining us for our third virtual Dignity event. In the next 20 minutes, you will be surprised, inspired, and challenged by what you see and hear. Wonderful things are happening at the IRC, and I can't wait to show you. I can promise that you will be glad you carved out time for this event. We all know the foundation of the Interactive Resource Center's work is service to our community, and the IRC needs your support now more than ever. If the IRC's work is new to you, prepare to be amazed at the services offered through this special place, and then listen and absorb some of the stories of the people, our neighbors, who make up the IRC community. Now, this link will stay active after our program, so I hope you will share it with your friends and family, and I hope you will support our most vulnerable population in Greensboro. You don't even have to wait until the program is over. You can actually make a donation anytime on the IRC Facebook page or at interactiveresourcecenter.org. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for and the person you really want to meet and hear, please welcome Executive Director Christina Singleton.
I'm Christina Singleton, the Executive Director of the Interactive Resource Center. The IRC has never been about a building. It's always been a community. It was built on a foundation of people in the community coming together and seeing a need that needed to be filled immediately. And that's exactly what happened. And here we are all these years later, able to offer folks that have nowhere else to turn, a place to take a shower, a place to do their laundry, to receive medical care if they don't have insurance. Behavioral health care is available, case management is available, bikes are available for transportation. When they need somewhere to be able to receive their mail, they can come to the IRC. When it's frigid and cold outside, you can come into a heated space instead of sleeping on the concrete all night long. Whatever the need is, we are here to help, and we are the place that people can turn to when there is nowhere else to go. We want to be that place, a place to be, a place to rest without being asked to move along, a place to really be seen, and a place to have dignity. This year we're facing one of the biggest challenges in the housing crisis, and we know that it's not going to be solved this week, next week, or next month. And until then, we're here, we're available for people that need help immediately. At the end of the day, we all know that the answer to solving homelessness is housing, but it's not always that simple. We learned this year with the motel program through the winter shelter that the next step, the missing link for our community, is permanent supportive housing. And we know that that's going to take a lot of work. We will remain focused on that throughout this year, and in the meantime, we know that folks need help right now. As we face the challenges ahead in the upcoming year, we need your help more than ever. We rely so much on the community that has always supported us, and this year is no different. Every day that I drive up in the parking lot at the IRC, I'm filled with gratitude for the people that support us. It's not lost on me that 40% of our annual budget still remains to be individual contributions from people just like you. This year is no different. We ask you to dig deep, to contribute to the IRC. We believe that all of us working together, all of us laying down our judgment, all of us coming to help the most vulnerable in our community can make the change that we want to see. Thank you for taking time today to watch this video. Thank you for always supporting us, and please give today and help us continue to help the most vulnerable in our community.
This is the moment when we pause to say thank you. This virtual Dignity event would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. We also want to recognize the following individuals and groups for their ongoing support, especially in these challenging times. It certainly takes a village, a community of friends, to meet the needs of those experiencing homelessness. Listen now to stories from our board and guests as they share the impact the IRC has had on their lives and why your support is so critical.
I'm Neil Dorman, the board chair of the IRC. So one of the core values at the IRC is dignity, and that is treating everybody with respect. It's including our guests on committees that help determine the services that we provide. It's also being a low barrier organization that doesn't prevent anybody from receiving services. It's open to all people. And a lot of organizations talk about being open and accepting, but the IRC has, as part of its procedures and operating activities, to be inclusive. And I think part of that is accepting everybody as they are and giving them dignity and treating people with respect. So one of my favorite things about the IRC is the morning meeting that they have every morning.
Good morning, IRC. So as you know, I'm Nakia Brown. I'm the
And it's where the services of the day can be communicated to the guest, and guests can share anything they want to share. And I like that everybody can participate. It's a way that everybody gets information about the services that are provided. It just shows what kind of community and the sense of community that's at the IRC. I also like the day room, and the day room is where somebody can spend as much time as they need when they're ready for services. The services are here, but not everybody's ready to take advantage of those immediately, so it gives people a chance of seeing other people succeed and seeing what's possible, and then when they're ready, take action and get the services that they need. I don't like making videos, I don't like asking for money, but here I am. This is important to me, and I just ask that you please give to the IRC.
The only thing I feel that got me through it was my cats. I came to live here in 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. As of about the end of January, beginning of February, I was facing homelessness, and so I tried to find what I could, but I had nowhere to go.
Found out he was working 2 jobs, 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours a week. Came to us, had only been without housing for just a few months. Had, to my knowledge, had broken up with a partner and didn't have anywhere to land after that, so had a lot of his things in storage, and then was living in a hotel, which was a really difficult place to live. And
there ended up being a bug infestation 2 times in there. The first time there was ants everywhere. The second time was before I left. There were roaches literally everywhere, to the point that I broke down because I couldn't leave my cat's food out while I was at work anymore, because it was just gonna get them sick. And it was about $460 a week. That could fluctuate. There was this furniture or something convention in town, and so I had to pay nearly $1,000 that week to just be there. And that was when I started to get behind in payment, and I was facing being on the street pretty quickly.
definitely felt on edge. Felt like week to week, day to day, I don't know if I'm gonna have this place anymore, and I don't know what's gonna happen to me or to my stuff. For the last year, I've been working on developing the Guaranteed Income Project, part of our self-sufficiency services, and it's really a first of its kind program.
The Guaranteed Income Project is a project that spans over a year that offers job support and housing support, and has a sum of money that you're given, $5,000 at the beginning, and you get a phone for a year that is to help get stable housing, have a job, and have a better life from people that don't have stable housing, homelessness, things like that.
Guaranteed Income Project, it's a pilot project, so we're trying it out. It's been funded by a number of very generous private donors that really believed in giving this a shot. I think Toby is just such a great example of how well it can go, and the fact that within a month receiving the funds, he was living in his own place seems to show that there are people that are right there, that are ready to go. And so we're still observing the results. It's early on, but things look hopeful for where the project might go. It's been really cool to watch him go from this place of not knowing how things were going to go week to week, and to now thinking month to month all the way down through the end of the year.
When I found out about the $5,000, that was when I was like, this is where my life is going to turn around.
What I think Toby's story so perfectly illustrates is that anything someone does, they need somewhere to do it. And this shows that when someone has a home, when they have that space to go home and be themselves, that's when they can begin pursuing their goals. That's when they can really take off. And my hope is that this project and everything we do here is to provide that home for everyone that needs it.
You know, this project and the IRC has definitely helped and impacted my life in a way that I wouldn't have had otherwise. And I don't want to think about what would have happened if I hadn't. I feel very warm and safe and secure now. And that is what a home means to me.
My name is Andre Womack. To be honest with you, when I came to this place, I came broken.
What I can share is that Andre comes from a single-parent home. He experienced some very bad trauma as a child with his mother present, and that weight has carried throughout his whole life, and it's almost crushing. If you can imagine going through something so bad that you wake up in the middle of the night with nightmares. You can't be around people, like you don't like nobody behind you, beside you, nowhere near you. You are scared to believe that you can be something else. You're scared to be great. That's the challenge there. He's just scared to be great.
First, I met Miss Katrina at the Regency. She came to my room to do a little rounds, and I broke down to her, man. I began to let her know a little bit about myself. But ever since I've been in that lady's life, man, she been a support team. I mean, she don't play. She makes me get up and do what I need to do to succeed in life. But she always there, always have a kind words. If she see me in my moment, she'll call me in the office, we'll talk about it. I could scream, I could yell, I could cuss, whatever.
As a path case manager, I have several clients that I work with, and how I acquired those clients was by going outreaching to people in the community, in the woods, behind dumpsters, behind abandoned buildings, building rapport with them to show them that I'm not here to save your life, but I'm here to help you reach the goals that you want to reach, however small it is, whether it's just getting an ID or just getting some groceries or some clothes from Salvation Army. I'm here to assist you in those ways. This program that we had at the Regency was awesome because it allowed people to have a safe place to sleep when it's cold outside, when they're used to getting their things stolen. For Andre, it was having a door that had a lock to it. Something that simple that we take for granted. He was so happy to have, and we were happy to be able to, have that program for him, and that he could have support while living somewhere, not just on alone and dealing with all those stressors of daily life on his own, but having support as well. What people really don't understand is that mental health, it's just like your physical health. You have to take care of your mind, and I wish the stigma wasn't attached to it, but it is.
The Regency was a good place to be. It was very protective first and foremost. We was on a set schedule, and me being a mental health patient, I needed to be on a set schedule as well. I mean, we knew that we didn't have to worry about finding somewhere to sleep. We didn't have to worry about finding a meal. We didn't have to worry about what time she would take our meds, because they provided that for us.
So for years and years, permanent supportive housing is proven to be successful. That has never been a question and never been an issue. It does take a lot of funding up front, and that's one thing that we're really working towards. But we've seen over and over again, especially in cities the size of Greensboro, huge successes. It takes a large portion of people experiencing homelessness, and they fit into this mold for permanent supportive housing that they really don't fit anywhere else. Shelters are not going to cut it, because if once you move into permanent supportive housing, there are folks that are never going to live independently, and we know that. So if we can take the folks that need those supports and have them be supported, then we can focus all of our resources on the higher need individuals. And that way we're able to address across the board the different levels of homelessness and poverty.
What the IRC means to me is a comfortable place to grasp your thoughts. A comfortable place where you can sit back somewhere and just meditate. A place where you could talk to somebody that cares. A place that you know that from 8 to 3 that you're comfortable, you protect it. What the IRC means to me is a place where I can shower, a place where I can wash clothes, a place where I can conversate with people that's in my position. I still be struggling with self, with my mental health problems. If the IRC wasn't here, I wouldn't have came this far.
The reason why you should be giving your support to the IRC is because a little bit goes such a long way. My name is Buffy Longmire Avital. I'm a professor of psychology at Elon University and a proud board member of the Interactive Resource Center. A lot of times people think that to be homeless or housing insecure, you've made a series of bad choices, and that's not it at all. I absolutely believe that housing is a human right. It is a human need to be able to thrive. People see me as a professor of psychology now, but I grew up very poor and living in a housing insecurity situation at one point. I was actually a first-year student in college and came back home from college and thought that my winter break was going to be about me working to afford books so that I could then be ready for spring semester. And I remember New Year's Eve, a lawyer knocking on our door and telling us that we had been evicted. We hadn't done anything wrong, but affordable housing had just been kind of abolished, or I should say abolished, in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and we needed to quickly find new housing. So instead of spending my winter break working and relaxing, I was frantically running around Cambridge with my mother and my sister trying to find housing, and I realized how close we were to not having a place, how close we were to having to send me back to college and that being my permanent housing for the moment. I like to think about the fact that the IRC has that interactive for I, but I think of that I as interruption. It reminds me about how I was so quickly, my life was interrupted by this moment of housing insecurity and possible homelessness. It also reminds me of that quote of James Baldwin, where he says, "The people who tell you it can't be done are usually interrupted by the people who are doing it." And I like to think that that I for IRC is the fact that they are interrupters. They are doing it in terms of fighting against this growing need of housing insecurity and homelessness in Greensboro. Please support the IRC.
My name is Darren Mitchell, and I'm a proud member of the IRC. My membership with the IRC is due largely to two special people. One is Michelle Kennedy, whose work I was very much acquainted with and knew of her passion regarding those who are impoverished. And then I was approached by Councilwoman Goldie Wells, who recommended that I would join the board during the pandemic. And because of their commitment to community and their commitment to the plight of the poor, and because of my own convictions, my faith convictions, and my own personal convictions, I wanted to be a part of this meaningful organization. My reason for really standing with the IRC in this very meaningful and necessary donation appeal is because I've had members of our congregation who, when learning that I was a member of the board of directors, said to me, "Dr. Mitchell, thank you for giving your time and giving your energy and effort to joining with that organization. We know firsthand of the work that they've done over the years prior to my coming." And because of their excitement and enthusiasm, it was an easy sell for me, especially during this month, to even ask our congregation to give a donation. And I've had persons to say, "I want to join with you as the church gives a donation to the IRC." So when members come to you and when persons come to you and share their appreciation and their affection for the work, it makes it easy for me to make appeals like these and to say to those who are wanting to give that your gift does matter. And because I'm in the work of appealing to people to give of themselves, I think this is something that is worthwhile, and I hope that you will respond in a very positive way. The IRC needs it. Many people will be blessed by it. So let's give.
Thank you, Neil, Toby, Andre, Buffy, and Darren, for sharing your stories and helping us better understand what homelessness looks like in our community and how we can do our part to make a difference. And now we would like to take a special moment to remember our dear friend and founding IRC member, Skip McMillan. All of us loved listening to Skip tell the story of the first days of the IRC. He loved sharing how the IRC was built by a small group of people who came together to solve a problem they saw in the community. 13 years later, Skip was still spending his days fighting homelessness. He would quietly come over and offer support to so many folks in all kinds of different ways, sharing the IRC story with a friend, bringing a laugh and a smile, sometimes a homemade stew for 150 people. He made a huge impact on our community in countless ways. Skip was proud of the IRC, proud of the headway we have made and how much we've grown, and the impact this organization has on our community. Thank you, Skip, for your longtime service and commitment to dignity. We miss you terribly. It is fair to say this has been a challenging year for many of us, but consider walking a mile in the shoes of someone who lives on the street. Imagine if you suddenly had nowhere to go. Where would you wash your hands? Where would you take a shower? This is a reality for many in our community, challenges they face every single day. That is why the IRC exists. It's not easy. It's expensive, but it is the right thing to do. It is the work and the mission of the Interactive Resource Center. No matter the crisis, the IRC consistently shows up to meet needs old and new, to provide understanding and care, to educate and to advocate. This is where progress happens. Let's take a look at the IRC in action.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up in spite of the silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, and I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. Oh, we'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again, and we'll rise up. I like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again.
Wow. Day in and day out, the IRC is changing lives. I hope you're asking yourself, what can I do? How can I help? Well, now is the time. Greensboro has a reputation for stepping up, coming together, and partnering to help those in need. And you can keep that spirit of generosity going. You can give now at ircgso.org. You can also mail your donation. Thank you for giving just a little of your time to learn about the Interactive Resource Center. Please spread the word and share this link. Together, we can make a difference.